Hello. In this video, we will discuss the rules of capturing fingers on the Bywell device. I will use Bywell 3.0 model. Actually, the rules stay the same for Bywell 2.0 and for Bywell 1.0 models. They're the same, equal. Eventually, even if people will be using in the future the Bywell mini devices, the rules will stay the same. The rules of positioning the fingers on the glass electrode of the device, because the glass electrode is the same. Let's go. When we are capturing fingers, there are standard rules applied in the Bywell software, and there are standard checkups made after the fulfillment of all 10 scans. For example, now I'm scanning not my fingers, but the metal cylinder, the calibration unit. And as you can see, their scans will be all equal, absolutely the same in terms of the inner ellipse. But as you can see, the flares in different sectors appear and disappear. And this is not because the stability or instability of the device itself. This is the nature of this technology, because this is air discharge, and air is constantly moving. It's unpredictable how the discharge will go in each case, so that's why it's important to do the repetitions of the images. In this case, we can see that we have already 5 scans and all of them have green ticks. If I continue scanning, you can see that all of them are having those green ticks in the right bottom corner, and until you scan the 10th finger, the automatic checkups are not made. The only two things that are being actually checked during the preliminary scanning, while all 10 are not scanned yet, the software is trying to calculate this blue line that you can see in the top vertical blue line on the top of each finger, of each image. So this is the automated process where the software tries to calculate the top of the finger, from where all the sectors will be calculated. And of course, the correct positioning of this blue line is quite important for correct positioning of all the sectors, and then calculation of all the nervous centers or chakras or organs and systems in the software, and henceforth all the parameters. So it is very important to control the position of this blue line, but of course when it's a circle, it's absolutely vertically oriented line. But look what will happen when I click and I scan the 10th finger. Once I click and scan the 10th finger, the software will start comparing these fingers between each other. I'm scanning my own fingers in the sitting position because it's quite inconvenient to record the video while I'm standing, so please excuse me. I will be doing it in a sitting position. Please pay attention to the fact that all the fingers that I am scanning are showing green ticks in the bottom right corner of every image. So this means that the software was able to calculate the blue line. You see this blue line showing upwards, vertically oriented. It's the position of the top of the finger, from where all of the sectors will be calculated in the software afterwards. It is very important that this blue line is correctly oriented, because all the sectors and all the parameters in the software will be derived from these sectors. And if sometimes software doesn't put the blue line correctly, it is your responsibility to put it in the right position. So, but if the blue line is calculated and software is able to detect it, you will see the green tick. But once you scan the 10th finger, the software will run the automatic checkups, and it will check all different values of these fingers between each other. So what does our Bywell software check automatically? It compares the fingers between each other, left and right. So of course, if you overlay your palms, you will notice that fingers are equal. index between each other, middle fingers between each other, etc. So that's what software is also checking. So for example, if I scan one of the fingers and it will be much bigger or much smaller than the same finger from the opposite hand, the software will inform me about that and will put these green not the green ticks, but exclamation marks at the bottom, because now the right little finger is much smaller than the left little finger. And it is up to me which one I will correct. Either I will decrease the size of the left little, or I will increase the size of the right little. It's up to me. It depends on the actual situation in every scan. Now you see the green ticks have appeared because the sizes are close to each other. Second checkup is that the thumbs should be bigger than the rest of the fingers. Well, that's quite obvious, right? So if the thumb will be smaller than any of 4 other fingers, then the software will highlight it with the red exclamation mark showing that something is wrong. The thumb can't be smaller, so you will have to rescan it. Third, these 3 fingers should be approximately the same size. So if one of them will be much bigger or much smaller, it will highlight it too and will inform you about that. In this case, the ring finger is much smaller than the right middle, and you can see this red exclamation mark. So I would rescan it to make it bigger. Now it's all fine. Next rule is that the pinky, the little finger, should be smaller than all other 4 fingers. And if I press too hard on this little finger and it will become bigger, you will see again the exclamation mark showing that something is wrong. Software will write you the hints what can be potentially the problem. So in this case, it tells you that the right little and left little are too different from each other, so you have to recapture them. But let's assume I will scan the left little, also very big. See? Now it shows me the exclamation mark here and on the left index finger, because now the left index finger is smaller than the pinky, but it's not true. So it means the pressure was incorrect, and the software highlights it for you, so you have to decide. Either you press harder with the index finger or you decrease the pressure of the little finger. Please rescan the fingers as many times as possible and it is needed until you get all 10 fingers correctly scanned. The orientation of the blue line is very important, and if the person has rotated the finger or skewed the finger, you either rescan or you try to reposition the ellipse. If you double click on the image, or in the top right corner you click edit image, you will get the real image here in grayscale, and you click the edit ellipse button, and now you can rotate the ellipse in the position in which the ellipse will fit the inner circle maximum ideally, and the blue line will position the top of the finger. Sometimes the easiest way to understand where the top of the finger is by looking at these breakthroughs in the emission. These are your fingerprint lines. So by looking at the orientation of these lines on the image, you can understand where the top of the finger is. So in this case, for example, we can see these lines here. So by looking at these lines, you can understand more or less where the top of the finger is. So that's what you should do, and control yourself, because software sometimes cannot understand where the top of the finger is. It's your responsibility as a professional user. You click save, then the image will be adjusted. So there are 2 responsibilities for you. One is to control the correct orientation of the blue line. Second, sometimes software is not able to erase this external emission. On this finger, it's here. And usually this emission comes through the slits of the finger insert. And you can see that the angles at which you will see these breakthroughs of the light are in exact position where the slits are. So it's not the emission of the finger, it's the outside external light that gets through the protection layers of the finger insert and gets into the video camera. So that's why you have to click and erase it yourself with eraser. Click save, and now it's fine. Here we edit the ellipse, we rotate it, click save, the blue line is correct. And one more thing that you have to control yourself is that sometimes you will see the nails or the traces of the nails. Here you see at the top of the finger there is a slight high intensity line on top. This is the nail or a trace of nail. Well, it's not exactly touching, but it's very close to the glass electrode. In such cases, it's better to rescan such fingers because the energy of the emission will be perturbed just because of the nail. So you just insert the finger there and you click scan again. Sometimes the fingernail is very obvious, like in this case. See, it's here. In this case, for sure, you have to click on the finger and just reposition the finger on the glass electrode in order to get the proper image. You can see that there is a distance at the top of the image where potentially you can move the finger upwards to evade the nails. So you control the patient by telling move a little bit downwards, move a little bit upwards until you get the perfect image. Sometimes the middle of the picture is not enough, so you have to try to keep the fingers of your patient either in the middle of the picture or at the bottom, at the upper part, not at the bottom. Because the probability that the nails will be visible and will be intervening with the actual globe is much higher when the fingers are at the bottom of the image. Once you are satisfied, you have checked that the blue lines, the ellipses, are correctly positioned, right? You have checked all 10 fingers, or rescanned them until you get the proper image. You see that there is no noise on the images left, and they're not cut on any side. There are no nails visible on any of the 10 fingers. Only after that, you should click Analyze. Of course, software helps you to check all these things, but not everything can be checked automatically, unfortunately. So it's your responsibility to control the correctness of the finger scanning. Please be careful. So you see in this case, part of the finger glove is cut. Please move the left forefinger closer to the center of the image frame. So the software will highlight it for you if you have not positioned finger correctly and some emission is being cut on any side. It doesn't matter if it's cut on the left side or on the right side. It doesn't matter. So if I will, it's quite hard to actually move the finger there on the left or right side, something like that. Now we can see the message, part of the glow is cut. So just rescan it until you get it right. These are the main rules. One more thing that I would highlight for you, it's better to keep the auto clean feature on because it helps you to automatically erase this noise from external sources of light automatically. So biggest part will be cut, only few lines can be left that you will have to erase yourself. So better to keep this auto clean feature always on. In case you have disabled it, you can scan all the fingers and then click clean. So this automatic cleaning will be made for you. About the fan button. Fan button is important when you're working in the environmental conditions that are derived from the ideal. Ideal is somewhere close to 45–50% of humidity of the air, and the temperature is between 22–24 Celsius. Then it's absolutely fine. If the humidity is much higher, closer to 70% or closer to the 30% or even lower, in these cases the scanning will be much more difficult, and fan will try to help you and compensate these deviations in relative humidity by taking off the excessive humidity from the air inside the device where you put the finger. So I would recommend you to turn on the fan anytime you do the scans by default. Then you will be more sure that the results are correct. Even if you are not controlling, or even if you are controlling the relative humidity and temperature in the room. It's better to keep it on. When you click fan, it will be turned on for 61 seconds. If you scan any finger at any moment within those 61 seconds, the counter will be reset. So you see that now it's 48, 47 seconds left. If I scan now the finger, you see the countdown restarts from 61 again. It means that even if you not scan for 1 minute between each finger, it will still be on. It means usually that when you do the scan, you fulfill the whole scan within 1 minute. I scan myself within 15, maximum 20 seconds, even with editing. So it means that it's just 1 or 2 seconds between each finger. So the fan will stay always on during the scanning of all 10 fingers. That's it about the rules of scanning. Once you are sure that everything is fine and all the fingers are correctly captured, you can click the Analyze button. This button here, ellipse up, well, sometimes you have rotated the blue line somewhere where it shouldn't be. The easiest way to return them back to the initial position is to click this button, and it will return to the ideal vertical position all 10 fingers. You can re-edit it if needed. Again, same thing you can do for each finger by clicking the Reset Ellipse button. Here I can edit it, save, and if needed I will reset it later. Once all these adjustments are made, you can see all 10 fingers properly made without any noise, without nails on the images, without any external noise there, without those red exclamation marks there. Click Analyze, and this is already 50% of the guarantee that the results of your scans will be correct. In fact, just by following the rules of correct positioning of fingers will give you 50% of success with the Bioware. Biggest amount of errors and mistakes are made during the scanning process, where people are not paying enough attention to the vertical blue line, the ellipse positioning, or they leave the external noise on the pictures, or they do not pay attention to the nails, and because of that, some of the parameters are wrongly calculated in the software. So the interpretation afterwards will be incorrect. So please be very patient, be careful with scanning, don't be in a hurry, recheck all the fingers, because there is no possibility to change the position or edit any image once you click Analyze in the software. So please be careful, control your patient, give the commands, move the finger upwards, downwards, press harder, or do not press too much. So actually there should be no excessive pressure. The rule is just you position the finger horizontally and the ellipse will be ideal. There should be no additional pressure on the finger because it will block the blood flow, and you don't need the blockage of the blood flow because it will change the information that you need. That's it.